Hello there Scapers, my name is Xenobilius and this video is going to be about my journey over the past 2 weeks in trying to get one Solak kill. Yes, it took me almost 2 weeks to get one Solak kill and I lost a hell of a lot of money. But the first thing I want to say is, despite taking so long, despite dying so many times, it was one of the most enjoyable grinds I've ever had on RS. Trim was a grind, and I did enjoy it overall just because of the end result. But in terms of Solak, it was more about the process. I really enjoyed actually learning the boss, and it was a very unique boss in the sense that there was a very high base level of skill, coordination and execution required to actually get the kill. But then from there on in, there wasn't much you could do to improve as such. I've heard this a lot from people as well, that there is a pretty high sort of threshold but also pretty low ceiling, so the room for error is pretty small. But once you do get a kill or two, it's very easy to start getting kills because you pretty much don't need to change anything, and that's exactly what happened. But starting from day of release, I actually took the day off as soon as I heard that the 29th of May was confirmed to be the day of release of Solak. I took the day off, I logged in, tried to find a team. I did find a team, but unfortunately I spent 3 or 4 hours not even getting past phase 1. So phase 1, because of all those routes in a 7-man, was killing me. I should have done a duo, but that's what happened. I took a bit of a break. I tried again in the evening and we went past phase 1 like once or twice and died immediately in phase 2. So I kind of got demoralized after that point, but I was privileged to watch Patrick be the first person to kill it. I also saw some of the other streamers get the kills, so that was really good to see. Learned a lot from the streamers as well, so that was actually a great way to learn the boss, watching streams and then executing what they did. In fact, that was pretty much the only way I did Solak. But anyway, after that day of release, I stopped doing 7-mans. I took a day off, and then every single day from there on in until Sunday the 10th of June, which is when I got the kill, I was attempting duos with my good old buddy Wildman 18 duo, and we just ground it out day after day, again and again and again and again, and it was very painful. But the good part was we were making solid progress every single day. We were figuring out new ways of doing things, we were sticking to what we were good at, and we were trying to learn from our mistakes, trying to learn from other new strategies, making those little changes, that 1-3% change that would improve us slightly, but then if we keep doing it, it would eventually improve us a lot. And that's exactly what we did. So P2 was a big threshold for us as well, in the sense that it was taking so long, and also the fact that there were so many attacks and we weren't sure of the rotations. We just kept dying in P2. So P2 was pretty annoying. It took us a very long time to get past it, but once we did get past it, P3 was very easy. I don't think we died a single time in P3 because P3 was so much easier than P2. And then of course we came to P4. So as soon as it became apparent, once we'd gotten to P4, that we could actually get the kill, that's when we started doing normal kills. So I must have done about 100, more than 100 practice mode attempts where I didn't actually die before I even started doing any full-on kills. And once I did start doing full-on kills, that's when I actually started losing money because of deaths. So I'd say I died about 100 times. Yes, 100 times in practice mode. So none of those actually count as deaths. So thank you Jagex for practice mode. It has saved me so much money and also kept my motivation going, because I knew that by doing practice mode I would only have to switch out to practice mode once I know that I stand a chance of getting a kill. Basically once I know how to get past P4 and I'm able to get to that point in terms of the knowledge that I have and the faith that I have in myself and my duo partner to get there. So when that was the case, that's when I switched to normal mode, and I did die about 50 times before I got my kill in normal mode, which sounds like a lot, but it would have been over 150 if it wasn't for practice mode. So I gotta say thank you to Jagex for releasing practice mode. It would be good if you could go and try out just specific phases in practice mode just to practice them, because P4 was by far the hardest phase and we would have to get to P4 before we could obviously try it out, and that's just a lot of time spent getting to P4 before we could practice it. Our method was pretty simple actually. Our method was basically to start with, both of us would Cade intercept whenever necessary. My partner Drew would mage and I would use ranged with ruby bolts and onyx bolts for onslaught. Ruby bolts mainly otherwise, and also ascension bolts when ruby bolts weren't useful, such as when he was on low HP or on the roots or on some of the other things like the anima eruptions. So that was a basic strategy. P1 was pretty easy with onslaught and onyx bolts, but I did die quite a few times in P1 just because of the fact that we weren't coordinating. So imagine how difficult it was to coordinate in a 7-man, and then think about how much easier it should have been in Geo, but I still died plenty of times. But getting past P1 was easy once we sorted our rotations out, which is basically Sunshine and Death Swiftness at the start of the arms, and Onslaught the core down, so that was pretty easy. P2 was a difficult one because so many things were happening and we weren't sure which would be next. We were kind of panicking, and that took a few days to get past, but we eventually did get past it. P3 was very easy. We did contemplate the idea of switching to Erethdo in P3, trying to get him down, because when you kill him, P4 becomes a lot easier in the Shadow Realm, but we decided against it. Food was almost never a problem. But we did bring Titans, so this was our basic strategy. P4 was the one that we really had to try hard to perfect, because unless we got it perfectly, there was no way we were getting it. And in fact, even though we had our rotation nailed in terms of what one person would do and what the other person would do, and we spent so much time at Lumbridge Dummies just practicing it again and again and again to make sure we could do it, in the heat of the moment with all those things hitting you, it just became quite difficult. And I gotta say, in the end, despite us discussing several different methods, we stuck to our fast method. We stuck to the idea that Drew would be the one going into the Shadow Realm and I would be the one staying out, and we basically just stuck to our guns. We just kept at it, and that I think was the reason we got it. If we'd given up and tried to do another method, that would have been another start from scratch kind of thing and just build up again. So I'm glad we did it, and this was basically our method. You can see it on split screen right now. So at the end of P3, we made sure that we summoned our Titans, we had enough food, we had full health and full adrenaline, and that was basically all we needed to do. We just had to be ready. We had 10 shards on him, storm shards. So once we got to P4, I natural instinct, I switched to Lunas for disruption shield because I was Cade intercepting with ancients, and then I natural instincted, so did Drew, but he cast vulnerability as well, so he was slightly behind me in terms of adrenaline. But actually no, in this kill we were pretty much exactly the same. So he meted, I death swifted, I got to about 65-70% as quickly as I could, snapshot, rapid fire. He was doing wild magic and shatter, and as soon as he was done with both of those, he went into the realm and he was doing his thing and I was doing my thing. So my thing was basically to tank the blight bomb and then use disruption shield for the 10k hit that would come, do another snapshot by the end of my death swiftness, and onslaught. Basically that was basically my rotation. Basically what he was doing was he was bringing acto switches that he would put on for the Shadow Realm specifically after he devotion, so that his devotion would reset, and in fact it did. So he actually had caraming on his staff. You wouldn't believe it, he did have caraming on his staff, not for this, but he had it anyway, and that really helped to aggro all of them. And I think it was just a case of reflecting, doing devotion, cading, healing Solak, hoping he got a defensive reset which would allow him to use devotion again. And once that happened, it was pretty easy from my end because all I had to do was onslaught, hope that the second blight bomb hit me after the end of my onslaught, which it did, and then use my limitless sigil to pull out a snapshot to finish him off, and that's basically what happened. But you wouldn't believe how many tries it took us to actually get it. Even though we knew this rotation, one person would screw up when the other person didn't, and that basically cost us the kill. But I think we did pretty well in the end, so I was pretty happy with it. 12 days, but it was a extremely satisfying grind, I gotta say, extremely satisfying. It's going to be very difficult for a lot of people to get their comp cape back, unfortunately, but I think 7-mans are now actually easier than Geos, so people are selling leeches, so it may not be as difficult as it sounds to get your comp back if you're willing to do 7-mans. But Geo was definitely difficult in the sense that neither of us are pro PVMers, but we did try hard, we just kept at it. We improved our PVM skills a lot, I gotta say. I'm actually confident of doing Telos now because of Solak. Solak really gave me a reason to actually learn a lot of little mechanics, timing, just awareness, and being able to react quickly to things and so on. So I'm going to try out Telos soon. But Solak, I'm interested in doing Solak. It's just, I'm not sure, it exhausted me to get that one kill. I'll probably try a few more times, get a few KC, hopefully get a crossbow, hopefully get that pet before 100 KC. That would be nice because I don't think I'll be able to do thousands of kills at this rate. But yeah, special thanks to my partner. I hope you enjoyed that split screen. Drew was recording as well, so that was handy. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything good, but I want to end the video by talking about some of the patches they came out with today. Specifically the ones regarding Solak. So if you didn't know, Solak had a lot of, I wouldn't say bugs, well they are bugs, but they're like predictable bugs. One of them would be where the person in the Shadow Realm would have their defensive reset once they came out of the Shadow Realm, and hence basically almost certainly killing them if they were being attacked by like 7 or 8 manifestations of Eresto. So that's one of the things they fixed, thank goodness for that. Imagine if Drew lost his Solak kill because of that. Solak no longer loses focus on a tank after his root attack on P2 and after a rune attack on P3. That's also handy because he tended to just randomly switch aggro in the middle of the kill. Portents of Restoration cannot be used to heal players inside Solak's mines. Now, I must admit, we didn't think of this, so we didn't use it, but I can see how it could have been very handy if people did use it. I was thinking about telling Drew to use a P-neck, but we decided against it because given his rotation he would not take any damage except when he was reflecting, because the other times he'd be devotioning or barricading, so he didn't really need that. But it would have been nice to have it. I don't know, it might still be worth having it. Probably the best thing that they did was the fact that P2 will now go a lot quicker. P2 was easily the slowest phase of the whole Solak kill, and now it's going to go quicker, which is good, especially if you do the crush you like a bug mechanic. That will drain his blight percentage more than it did. And perhaps not such good news is that Solak will now reliably hit all players for the insta-kill attack if the players allow Solak to die in the Shadow Realm in P4. Okay, so that's all I have for this. I am looking forward to doing some more duos, some more 7-mans in the future, maybe making a Solak guide. Like I said, we just stuck to one method, the fast method in P4, and there was very little margin for error, therefore we kept failing, but we didn't lose hope, we didn't lose faith in our own abilities, and eventually we got it pretty comfortably, I'd say, in terms of timing. For those of you wanting to do Solak, I would just say pick a duo partner, pick a 7-man team, and just stick to it. Just keep grinding again and again and again. And once you do get it, something will click and it will become a lot easier if you want to grind it out in the future. So just keep at it, guys. Definitely worth trying again. Make sure you try and learn from your mistakes, because there are a lot of mistakes you can do. Don't get too frustrated. If you do, that doesn't really help. Just try and encourage each other and try and make those incremental gains. We're not all of us are pro PDMers, so we gotta try and improve a few percent here and there where we can, and me and Drew certainly did. In fact, I really noticed the kill speed improving just because we were able to sort of anticipate certain things and do a bit of extra damage here and there, try and bypass this attack quicker, do a few more ultimates here and there, just do more DPS in general. And we went from having to spend a lot of extra time in P3 trying to get him down to 300k to basically getting him to 300k before we finished all the runes, all 8 runes. So that's a big difference, and also saving a lot of food here and there, just resonancing the right hit, that kind of thing. So you will improve if you keep doing it. If you have any questions, let me know. I can explain my method in a bit more detail, but I'm sure that whatever method you do use, you got to be confident it's gonna work, and that's by trying it out at dummies or whatever before you go into P4, because using P4 as a lab rat isn't very good because you're wasting so much time doing the rest of the kill and then trying to get to P4 and then trying to get your rotations perfect. Get them perfect before and then go into P4. Alright, enough rambling from me. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I recomped yesterday only to lose my comp today, so that's not good news, but hopefully I should have it back a lot quicker than I took trying to get it back after the release of Solak.